I started thinking about where nakedness comes up in the Bible, and it brought me to the Old Testament, and there's shame associated with it. And then it started to lead me to the thoughts about modesty and like what is the purpose of clothing? Because in our conversation that evening when you were talking about Revelation 3, it did come to like, so we wear clothing to cover our shame. And it made me think about like, instead of, I guess it had never occurred to me in discussions, Christian discussions on modesty, that no, it's not just so that you won't cause others to sin that you dress modestly. It's actually to cover your shame as well.
It's your own pride is the issue, right? And I don't know. I think it's a fine line here. It is valuable to take care of your body so as not to make others ashamed of looking at you, right? So a slob, you're like, I don't even know where to look, the poor guy, right? So there is a health issue that's connected here too, right? Where self-care, your teeth, it is about the longevity of your body and the ability of your body to be an active part of society. If you're standing beside somebody who smells, then that's not cool, right? So
it's not really loving your neighbor
to not take care of yourself in a really obvious way, right?
Okay.
But then you flip to the other side, which is like, look at me. Everyone, look at me. Look at me, right? And that can't not be prideful. But we're going to run very quickly into this place where, like, you're not going to navigate this without sin. So stop it. Stop thinking that this is going to be about I've succeeded or I've not succeeded.
And it wasn't necessarily that route that I was taking as I was meditating.
I don't think you are, but I think that there's people out there listening to this conversation that need to hear this.
Oh, sure, absolutely.
Okay, that they're going to immediately go into there's a right and there's a wrong, and this is not about a right and a wrong. This is about a posture and a pursuit.
Amen.
Okay, and so the posture and the pursuit is it's not about me.
Right.
That's what we want to pursue, right? Does the mirror help with this? No, never, actually. So should you get rid of your mirrors? That's a very legalistic response to what I just said. Right? Do you think getting rid of the mirror is going to get rid of your pride? It's not. The question is, what are you going to posture and pursue? How are you going to posture your pursuit? What are you going to chase? Are you going to chase more mirror in terms of like more time primping and planning, or are you going to use the mirror so you can be a participant in society, get your face clean, shave your scruffles, and then get out the door, right? And so modesty then isn't even about what you wear; it's about your posture and your pursuit. Are you trying to be the center, or are you just there to be there, right? To be part of the whole, to find your place.
Yeah,
right?
Because I could wear a completely, well, let's just say, aside from the V-neck, black, oh my goodness, what is her name?
Black Widow?
Yeah. Black Widow is covered from her shoulders to her toes.
Not modest, that woman. Not a little bit.
But there isn't that mindset of I just want to participate. It is a dress that is to call attention.
I think you could go into an African village and you could have a woman that is naked except for a loincloth, and she would be the most modest person you ever saw. No one's even thinking the way that we apply visual objectification and pride.
Right.
Right. Because she's just sitting there with her baby on her hip, and it's like whatever. Like they're not thinking about it. What are we covering? The unpresentable parts. That's what we're covering. What's unpresentable? Well, if you go into the village, you'll find out there's two things they cover. Right? And it's not the upper body. So we've hyper objectified the upper body of women in such a way that we can't look at them now without having sexual fantasy and thought. And so it's become unpresentable. But that's not really what nakedness in the Bible is about. It's about your lower regions. This is why when a man would gird up his loins to run, if he's not going to war, he's shaming himself. He's showing his upper thigh. Well, that's too close to the unpresentable parts. So the shame is over, interestingly, our distinction, man and woman. How we're different from each other. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. And the shame is also wrong. Okay. Why are we ashamed of how God made us? But we are. So that shame that you feel when you are seen naked is kind of a first article gift of sinful awareness. You're aware of your sin. You're aware you're incomplete. You're aware that by yourself you're vulnerable. Right? So all of those things are really part of this. And then modesty, again, is then to not flaunt anything, right? Least of all, to pretend you're invulnerable. Right? Don't act like you have nothing to hide. We all do, right? And so instead of trying to be God, walking around saying, "Look at me," go into every scenario seeking the good of everyone else around you, which has a lot less to do with how you look and a lot more to do with your posture and your pursuits. Now, how you look does reflect this. It does. You can be a peacock. Well, that's not modest, right? But just because you're going to be like the anti-peacock, well, that's not modest either.
Right.
Right. Well, look at me. I only wear rags, and I cover frumpy rags so that I'm modest. No, you're not. That's not more modest. You're still about you. So modesty is about not just knowing your place. That makes it sound so bad. It's about desiring your place because your place is created by God and good.